It says started broadcasting, but I don't see anything. I don't see the broadcast. It said it ended. Hey guys. So wait a minute. So my Twitter has no broadcast right now. Okay. It says it timed out. Today. All right. So anyway, it's Shantae Brown Sugar Talk under. Let's go live. I wanted to put in. Oh, is it there? Yes, it's already there. Okay, so cool beans. All right, so anyway, Shantae Brown Sugar Talk under Black Unicorns, and today is all about status. So I'm gonna start this show with the question. So as we go through status, oh, I gotta get Tumblr and Instagram, y'all. I'm so happy about Tumblr. I don't know what to fucking do. Like, it's so nice when the people are like interacting and all that stuff. My show still didn't load up from yesterday. Okay, I'll worry about it later. Uh,
Disconnected.
I know my life. That is the story of my life, darling. That is the story of my life, darling. I don't know why that would disconnect right now. Like, what the heck are you talking about? I was doing like what is this thing? I was doing um something else. I was doing uh, something else, and I can never find. I don't know how to find apps on this thing. I hope it works.
Connected.
Are you kidding me? Okay, so today's show is all about status. Oh my god, it used to be a song like that, right? Like called Status. Status, status. It was from the 80s. That was like the dopest song. Okay, y'all, so mm, today is about status. These 7 days are made for the identity iceberg. So if you are really taking a test and trying to like connect, this is something you could think about doing. Like you could start creating, but I wouldn't create it until like later on in the week because at least now we're talking about it. So the identity iceberg has the tip of the iceberg, which is everything that you see. So everything you see on me, I'm black. I'm black. I have glasses. That means like nobody ever sees it as a disability. I wear glasses. Um, you see, I have hair. A lot of women see a hair like they. A lot of women. I don't have a lot of hair, so it's like a lot of women will like discriminate based on your hair too. I have full lips. I have sort of a pointy nose. My face is oval. I wear like a lot of rags. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, that's my style. Um, for right now, you know what I'm saying? Like I went from riches to rags. And what else? I don't wear my earrings all the time now. I don't wear any makeup. Instead of an Apple Watch, I got a Fitbit. You know, some people discriminate based on that. Um, Nobody can really see anything. Okay, so today's question is about the deeper level of the iceberg. So it's like shadow work. It's something that somebody can't see, only somebody knows, right? So looking at me, they'll like see my rags or they'll see my riches or whatever I have on it, and they'll think, oh, she has money or she doesn't have money or whatever. So today is about socioeconomic status. Um, as you get older and heal, that will affect your personality. Like socioeconomic status is part of the cycle of socialization. And the way that other people around you see these things, these different topics, that's how it helps you. So anything that's in the cycle of socialization is deeper level. Because those are things that people can't see. My whole life, people have always assumed that I'm like really Christian. I'm not. They just assume it. Y'all, this morning I had this problem. There used to be this guy named Joe McCombs, and he was at the school. And so what happens is, it's like he would do this thing where he would like always want to he like want to start a conversation, right? And so I guess he just had this woman do it. It's like the woman was starting a conversation with me, and then she started ignoring me. So the conversation was about coffee. And so it's like as soon as we got into the conversation, as soon as I at first I didn't talk to her, right? So as soon as I got into the conversation about the coffee, she started ignoring me. And it was like, I'm going to do it every time. You know why? Because then that person can't say, well, she doesn't communicate with me. She doesn't like me. I don't want to hear any of it, because it's not about that. It's about the annoying fact that somebody was at my door and she came and asked me that. She said, that's why people thought they were recording by my door. So when other people came to ask me or tell me something, they came by my door and started insulting the person, because they're like, that's stalking, right? So when a woman came by my door, she's a black lady. She comes to the door. She says, do you like coffee? I was like, yeah. And she gave me a handful of coffee. So the woman was out there. She was doing the same thing again, repeating, do you like coffee? Or whatever, because it was a teapot, right? She just wanted to make conversation. This is the stuff Joe McCombs does. So she wanted to have me come to the party in her head, because I don't want to be there. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So I had my teapot, and she kept asking me about the teapot. I didn't answer her because I got stuff to do. Like, I'm not about to sit here and play with you all day. And so the guy that was with her, he just started answering the question like, no, that's just a tea kettle and this, that, and the other, right? Because I don't talk to him either, because he does the same thing. He'll come here and try to repeat what somebody else said. So when y'all, I stop and I give her a full conversation. I was like, you know what? Because at first I didn't want to say hi, bye, see you later, anything. I was actually just walking by in silence. I was just answering the question like, Okay, so I stopped and I was just like, you know what? I do love coffee. I have 3 different types in my room. I was like, you know what I have? I have espresso, I have instant, and then I have a Brazilian coffee in my room too. Look, one of these is not true, okay? I was like, because they try to sneak in my room, and I'm not here. They'll break in my room, or somebody will come in my room and see what's in my room so they can say it on the street. Okay? It's like this person really is stalking me. They don't see it. They act like they ignore everything. So The lady is then saying, well, what about the coffee that you can just use like a tea bag? I said, oh my God, you know what? I've never seen that type of coffee. But you can see the tea bags in my window. Like if my window is open right now. So if somebody actually took their head and pushed it against the window, because you can't see when you walk by. You have to actually press your head against the window or come really close to my window to see what's in my window. So she's like, what about the tea bag? You see what I'm saying? I was like, you know what? I've never had that type of coffee. I've never had a tea bag coffee. And so she said, well, if I get some, I'll give you one. You see, but the lady just already came to my door and just gave me coffee. So it's like, what is the point of this conversation? What is the point of this person? This is how I'm stuck. They have been doing this since my son was born. This person actually will listen to what is going on. And so if I didn't enter, like, so they'll go and be, or they'll try to hurt the lady that gave me the coffee. But the new lady, she'll never give me coffee a day in her fucking life. And she'll tell them everything. So it's like, that's what it is. It's like they want anybody good that's around me that helps me, they'll take that person and then replace it with another person. It's like, no, that wasn't what this was for. This is for you to go to jail. You see what I'm saying? When they were listening to my car, I was like, yeah, gather all my enemies. Guess what I want you to gather them for? So you can go to fucking jail with them. You understand what I'm saying? This motherfucker actually gathered my enemies and then try to take revenge out on me. And it's like, that's not something that we need to do, because there's nothing out that you need to come and be vengeful for. So yeah, I'm talking about, I go through it. I really do. Anyway, if you get a chance, Instagram and Tumblr, look up the cycle of socialization, because that's what this is about today. So, the cycle of socialization. First off, let's look at the question. That's what I left out, the question. Cycle of what was it? Okay, here it is. This is the question. Okay, so today's question is, how does my or my family's current socioeconomic status affect how I spend vacations? So that's just a question that somebody would ask on an identity iceberg. And it's like, we don't think about vacations. I take a lot of vacations, and my family did too. It just wasn't something that was affected by it. So in order for you to understand that, you also have to understand the definition of socioeconomic status. Okay, so let's put that up there too. Socioeconomic status was defined as having three dimensions: family income, um, parents' educational level, and parents' occupational prestige. Well, I had four parents and I had godparents as well. So it's like, I always got a chance to do whatever I needed to do. And my grandmother, okay? So my grandmother would be counted as a parent too, because I call her mama. I call my mama Tiny. So family income. In my grandmother's house is upper middle class, and my dad's house is upper middle class, and at my mother's house is low income. Okay, educational level. At my dad's house, my stepmother went to college. My mother went to college too, but she also took what are these, like, trade classes to do what she was doing. So on one hand, as far as vacations go, I spent time in Texas, Louisiana, St. Louis, Missouri, and Illinois. So when it comes to my mother giving us a vacation, we have to save for the year, or somebody donates us money to take the vacation. So the vacations I took with her, we would go to places in the South too, like Memphis, Mississippi, all those different places. Where else? As far as my dad goes, it'll be like, and also their job, Macy's, which is famous bar, which is now Macy's, they used to have vacations that we took her to. Like, so Fairview Heights used to have a pool, like a private pool area. You get there, you go. They have a pool party there in Fairview Heights. Um, it's just all types of like good stuff. It's like my life is kudos. I'm not joking. I don't think I'm privileged, but as far as like traveling, we travel. Like it's nothing for us to be like, if our cousin calls like I'm in trouble and they're in another city, we will travel to the city. Like it's not something that we won't do. You know, we'll get in the car and drive for hours. Um, what else? My dad though, he would send tickets. Like he buys tickets for me to go. So I spent when I was younger until I got 12, I spent my summer and my Christmas with my dad. And then when I got older, from 12 to 17, my mother would try to punish me by not letting me see my dad. I spent one summer in California with an auntie that was like abusive towards me as well. So um that's it. Like that's how it was. It's like I had both sides of the spectrum, but I got to travel. And then when it was left up to me, I just buy a ticket or I try to travel somewhere in the car with a friend, or I rent a car. Now me and my son, like we haven't always been in Texas, so Texas is like so big that there's so much stuff to see. So we've been to like Rose, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Austin, Texas. He's also been back here to Illinois. He's been in Oklahoma. When I was younger, I did not know what a dingy motel was. That's me and his travel experience is different. He's only been on a plane when he was a baby. For the most part, I try to drive or we take the train. Um, the other part of that is like I've never known, I didn't know a dingy motel until we've been in a dingy motel, until I could only afford a dingy motel. So that's it. Like we travel for real. And then when we travel, like I use Groupon, I try to like use everything as a discount. And then parents, occupational prestige. Like most people would probably have more respect for my father and my stepmother because of their jobs and their title positions. But a lot of people love my stepdad and my mother too because they're very caring and giving or whatever. So um but my stepmother and my father were both drug addicts, even though they had the better jobs and a better home and the better socioeconomic status. And my stepfather was a drunk for a long time, and my mother was addicted to money. Like my mother is like a very much an addict of. She's a swindler. My mother is a swindler. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for what means I do not know. So for me, and then I had like upper class friends. So it's like that's something else. So I have been on every spectrum of the socioeconomic status. That's why some people would think that I'm spoiled or something like that. And it's like, nope, I'm not spoiled. It's just that I had a lot of family and I get to spend time with my family. Like I'm like some of my godparents, like if I go out of town to be my stepmother's family, it's because my stepmother is from Louisiana. So that means that I get to spend time with her family too. Because my stepfather is from Centerville, Illinois, then that means I get to spend time with them too and take trips with them too if I get a chance to. Because of our church, Kojic, we also got to travel when we were younger too, but you have to save for those trips. So Kojic is like a Church of God in Christ, and we have like they have a big, because I'm not a religious person, but they have a big end of the year youth convention, and we come from everywhere just to like celebrate together. And it has been like one of the most life-changing things in my life. I'm not telling you to be religious or anything, but I love it. It's like they teach us, it's not what they teach us, but at the trip, depending on the type of person you are, you will learn like so much, and you get a chance to like actually see the city. So it's not like they keep you in church all day. Like you have conferences in the morning, then throughout the middle of the day, like from 12 till about 7 o'clock, you're able to like view the city as long as you're back at church by 7. And so we usually have the conferences downtown, wherever we are. And of course, downtown has all the goodies and all that stuff. So, and you get to meet like a lot of different people. So so it also broadens your spectrum of life. So for me, if I was to answer this question, um, what has that done for me in my life and my vacations? It's just allowed me to know that I can take a vacation. So when you look at your identity iceberg, I've given you all these details that are deeper level because you would not have known that I grew up in a 4-parent home. You see what I'm saying? Or that I had so many supportive adults around me. But I do, and that's something that I try to carry on for everybody else. So when I look at the cycle of socialization, um, the first cycle of socialization, I've been traveling, I've been on airplanes since I was 3. So that's something that tells me that, okay, this is okay for me to do it. And so some people, they don't ever think about buying a plane ticket or anything, and you think, well, what's wrong with them or what's wrong with me? And it's like because that wasn't your first cycle, that wasn't your first part of your social, that wasn't your first socialization. So for me, it's like second nature. If I gotta go, I gotta go, and it's a way to always get there. Like you got buses, and I mean, I don't care about what means of travel I gotta get there. I'm gonna get there. Um, Then you have the next, your institutional and cultural socialization. So I told you guys about how the church affected, like how I traveled. The school, I've taken trips with my school. Television, all these different things. Television showed me that I can travel. So all these different things, like when you see things like Coming to America with Eddie Murphy, you see, like I wouldn't mind living in another country. Like it's just like all this stuff tells me that I can travel. If you get your kid a passport when they're little, even if they don't use it till they're 15 or 16 years old, guess what? They have in their mind. My mama told me I could travel. The legal system, like I'm not in trouble. I gotta stay out of trouble so I can travel. Marital health. I need a man that knows how to travel. You see what I'm saying? So all this stuff is just like, if you look at this, the cultures, the practices, whatever, the song lyrics, all this different stuff. It's like some songs tell you, like I like when Jay-Z says, well, that ain't nothing I've ever thought of, when he was like, when he jumped into the ocean or whatever, and that was his first time being out on a yacht. And he's like, that was my first time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is scary when it's your first time. What if the water's too deep? What if I don't come up? Like, what the fuck am I doing here? And it doesn't even feel the same. It feels like different because it's your first time. And so then he goes out on a yacht. Now it's just like, let's get a yacht. Let's get out there in the water. So that's it. It's like this is your conscious and unconscious. So those are your unconscious levels. So it's like when you're doing your identity iceberg, make sure you look back at the cycles of socialization because it'll help you kind of look at questions about yourself and answer what those questions are. So that is like this person, he made this in 1997. I mean, that's how far we were behind. Like it's like I always try to give you guys the depth of how much Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was trying to influence you getting to know yourself. And so for Harrow's just to have brought this out in 1997, that is like something where it's like, wait a minute, that's like some real new ass information that we could have already had a long time ago. So looking at this as far as status goes, it's like, man, that's some information that we could have had the entire time. Um, what else do I want to talk to you about? Cycle of socialization, the socioeconomic status, and then I want to talk to you guys about also the definition for discrimination. So discrimination is based on grounds of color. This is something that you always want to identify your identity iceberg. Not that it's discrimination, but just because it's set up in those systems, you have things that you identify with your color, your ethnic origin, your ancestry, place of origin, citizenship, and creed, and religion. Depending on the circumstances, discrimination based on race may cite race alone or may include one or more related grounds. So I just put that in there so we can always remember like what it is that, as far as like what are we discriminated against? And sometimes you have to ask yourself the question: was I discriminated against? Because I grew up in a mainly black city, because my elementary years were in a black city, I wasn't discriminated against, and I was actually considered to be upper class. Even though we're like upper middle class, I was considered to be upper class. So I really did not have a lot of discrimination when I was younger. We did not let people know that we were Native American, and we did not let people know that we were Jewish. So that's it. It's like we were actually in a black city, like we were there in a black city, and it predominantly the culture there is Jewish. They just don't. They just don't know. East St. Louis and St. Louis, the culture here is very Jewish. It's very Jewish, darling. It's just watered down Jewish. Um, and it could be because of my grandfather. Let's keep going. So, oh, I had one more slide that I did not upload, and let me just go ahead and see what that one is. And the last one is your subconscious. So, like I said, in the identity iceberg, you have your what you see, your surface level. Then you have today we're talking about that deeper level, and then you have on the bottom your unconscious level. Okay, so or your subconscious level. So of are concerned the part of your of the mind of which is not fully aware, but which influences one's actions and feelings. And so, I think the cycle of socialization says it's unconscious. I just don't agree with it. So I don't, like I don't agree with. No, I don't want that gone. I don't agree with it being unconscious. That's why I put subconscious because I thought about that today. I was like, do I agree with that? I don't agree that it's unconscious. I'm gonna look at it now and see why I'm saying it. So it's like if you go here to, I think the enforcements. I think it's just a definition. I think it's like a subconscious. So it says on conscious and unconscious levels. So that's why I'm like, is that really unconscious or is it subconscious? It just unconscious makes me think that you're just out, like you just the part of the mind which is inaccessible to conscious mind, but which affects behavior and emotion. So basically, it's the same thing. Okay, so subconscious and unconscious are the same thing. So that's probably why I can't agree. Like I have to agree now. Like he's right. So that's it. Like it's like for real, seriously, for this research to just hit the world in 1997 and be right in the right mind or in the right area of what we need is like it's pretty daunting. And so now it's like let's really get to work on not. I know people get mad about all lives matter, but this has to have this has to happen. Once you know the real research behind the United States and everything that we go through and how the United States of America has affected the entire country, its own country is actually treason on its own country, right now we're going through treason on its own country. And the reason why is because they didn't want us to know the content of our character. They wanted us to live lives in different places, the same life in different places. So they were forcing people to live lives, the same lives in different places. And that was through television. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Because television, because the United States of America wanted to first control radio, then they wanted to control TV. And so that's why you see all these different things, like where the real history is coming out. So it's like they did a series on that too when the United States of America controlled radio and TV, how they did that and how small, you think, well, these people are so small, but that's actually what happened. It had a big impact. So now that we see that that's not something that we need to do because a lot of people are going crazy. Like they can't do that anymore. You can't force me with my personality to be a person with another personality. You understand what I'm saying? Like you can't force me. I'm intelligent, but you want to force me to be a dummy. It's like that stuff will drive you fucking crazy. Oh, okay, well, I don't like you. I'm going to force you because you're a black woman to be a dog. Like they were actually trying to force me out to be a dog because one day I said I was loyal. So it's like they really try to do this stuff, like telling, "Oh, good job," or trying to pet you and all this stuff. Like I'm talking about they actually will try to treat you as if you were a dog, and it is like that is so daunting. Like you don't realize that people have like it's time for you to have a full life, because if you actually take the time and have a full life, what I do or who I am or how I affect you or your jealousy, it won't happen. So that is why it is very important for us now to get to know ourselves so that we're not stuck in a situation where we think, oh, Betsy bought a new car, so she's better than me. Well, that's not true. It's just not true. Betsy needed a new car because Betsy was in an accident. And so this time she was able to upgrade because her and her husband got a little bit more money on their taxes. You understand what I'm saying? It's like Stop comparing yourself and start to look at you. And that's all this is about. This month is like, it's not about, it's about our history. We can't say it's Black history. We can't say it's this history. We have to look at it and say, this is our history. This is our American history. And this is what it's done to us. And so from that, you have to actually get to know yourself. You owe it to yourself to get to know who you really are. So anyway, that's it. It's Shantae, Brown Sugar Talk under Black Unicorns. Y'all, this is from my son. I know I just got Tumblr people. My son, I am supporting his stance on all lives matter because he's a mixed child. And y'all, he does not accept being Jewish or Native American. He says he is Black and African to his heart. And so he says, yes, I'm a mixed child, but I'm Black and African. And he says, Mom, all lives matter. And when I started to do this research, this is for him. This is for my son too, because I started to see that too. That because somebody's the same color as me does not mean that stops jealousy, envy, or hatred. And it does not stop racism either. So that's why it's like, it's so important for us to really get to know ourselves. Anyway, Blake, I thank you and I love you. And that's the whole reason for this series, and that's the whole reason why I rewrote the book. So anyways, it is Shantae, again, Brown Sugar Talk under Black Unicorns, telling everybody to have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiedersehen. I just love you.